10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Hello, 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 my friends in Sasquatch land. Tuesday night once again, and welcome to Discover Sasquatch. Tonight we will not disappoint once again. Our friend Carl Crew will be with us live from Hollywood, California, and give us the tour of the auditorium. I'm very excited to see the mummies that he has within the walls of his manor there. And I'm sure everybody else is excited to see it too. Let's say hello to a couple of people on the chat. Hello, Blue-Eyed Northern. Hello, Pat McGuire. Hello, Nana Boss. Hello, Shayna. Glad that you guys could all make it on Tuesday night. How is my mic sounding tonight? Does it sound better than it did last week? We're trying to work out the bugs here. Hopefully it sounds better than last week. So I just got a couple things to touch on. The New Mexico trip is on. There will be 6 of us headed into the mountains in early springtime. Looking very, very excited for it. We have booked our flights and all that, and the plans are being made for our trip to the top of that mountain. And also I wanted to apologize to people that I haven't gotten in touch with. There's one person, I hope she's watching. She's usually sitting on her couch eating some popcorn. She knows who she is if she's watching, and I apologize, and I will get a hold of you tomorrow. Everything just got real busy the last few days. So without further ado, let's bring our friend on from Hollywood, California, Mr. Carl Crew.
Hey, everybody. How you doing tonight?
Hello, Carl. How are you?
Very good. Very good.
So,
anticipating. Now, we don't have mummies here. The bodies that we have here, they're over embalmed. Mummies are wrapped.
Okay.
These are typical of the embalming from around the turn of the century. Because I used to be a mortician, and legally you can't have a body unless it's over 100 years old. And these are all over 100 years old. Yeah. So California Institute of Abnormal Arts. Yes. We're starting in, we always start in our Red Dragon room. I'll give you a little look of it. This is kind of the deal here. It's all kind of ancient Chinese secret. Oh yeah. And I can't turn my camera around without like dropping the lead, so I can't, I'm gonna have to flip it around like that. But yep. So normally we get a nice libation and preferably unsweetened iced tea, yes. And then we start our tour. So let me show you the main room before we go outside to the auditorium. We're going to show you the main room. Let's see. There we go. Now, we've been here for 27 years. Yeah. And this is the main room. This is the main stage. And if that stage could talk, it would scream. Freak shows, magic shows, puppet shows, just like nonstop music and stuff. And this is our little clown. Hey, snap out of it. Hey. It's supposed to be animatronic, but of course it doesn't work for me. Okay, that's good. So, yeah, and this is our sound booth over here. You can't really see it too well, but we like it a little dark, So,
Carl,
well, we're going to go outside now.
Carl,
We just got the bones of Elephant Man donated to the club, to the Institute. It's not the actual bones. My friend Captain Leather, he designed all the costumes for Michael Jackson. Knew Michael Jackson very well. He tried to get the real bones of the Elephant Man for Michael, and they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't sell it to him. So I had a friend of mine call, who is a producer, and he produced the David Bowie Broadway play Elephant Man. He said, "Yeah, do you want this? Anamorphic digital scan of Elephant Man?" I said, "Yeah, baby." He brought it down, so we actually end on that. Yeah. So this is the outside, and of course, it's not dark yet. So there's all kinds of lanterns and all kinds of crazy stuff all the way around here. And as it gets dark, the ambience gets, more prominent. But we usually start our tour out here. And we actually start right over here. This is where I line up everybody right here, and I said, "Let me get an amen." And they say, "Amen." I said, "Good, I got your attention." I said, I grew up in San Francisco, and I used to go to school on Nob Hill and drop down into Chinatown every day to get my fried wontons. And I met these incredible Chinese families that literally took me underground. They showed me the opium dens. They supposedly weren't working at that time, but they took me underground. It was amazing. And my name is Carl Crew, and they call me Klala Clue. And we did so many circus years here. We kind of reinvented ourselves and went all ancient Chinese secret with our aesthetic. So I called them up and go, "This is Klala." And they go, "Oh, Klala." I said, "I know you have one of your relatives in your place. I want him in my museum." And they knew I had a dead clown here for 25 years. So they brought him down. His name was Fa Choi. And Fa Choi was a magician for underground opium dens in 1914 in San Francisco. Now, I used to be a mortician. I lived at a mortuary for 5 years. And I was an apprentice embalmer. And we use formaldehyde when we embalm people, make y'all look pink and happy. This is turn of the century. They use all kinds of crazy chemicals. Fa Choi is embalmed with pure mercury. Yeah, and he looks terrible. Here he is. Can you see him?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Huh. Now, about how old is he? Can you hear me? No. I can't hear you talk either now. Hold on a sec.
There we go. What was your question?
I was wondering, how old is he?
Oh, but that's 1914. I think he died around 1915 or so. And he's sitting cross-legged. He's really not that small, but he's pretty small. But he had he chopped his own hand off in an opium den magic show. I guess a little osmosis was going on. They gave him that fake hand, and all the fake skin fell off it because it's 1914. But yeah, pretty amazing. They come back every year, and those are 24 karat teeth, baby. 24 karat gold teeth. They come back every couple of months and check you like having to steal a gold tooth from a dead Chinese magician. Yeah. No. So it's really interesting because in that culture, apparently it's very part of their culture to keep dead bodies in their house. I got a call from another Chinese family who's friends with them, and they said, "Oh, Klala." I go, "Okay, here we go." And she goes, "Oh, we have." And so they wanted to bring their relative to be displayed with him, with Fa Choi. And her name was Madame Wong. And Madame Wong was a midget magician jewel thief. Can you say that 3 times fast?
Nope.
No, you can't even say it once. And she was arrested in 1913 at the Golden Gate Theater in San Francisco for ripping people off in her magic show. They hung black dragon heads around the theater and would blow opium smoke on it. And you would get all stoned. She'd come out and take your jewelry. Yeah. But one time she stole across from this one guy, and he wasn't stoned yet. And they snuck out and got a cop, and they came back in. They witnessed her. She had borrowed the Lotus Jewel from the De Young Museum in San Francisco, made it disappear in her act, and she never brought it back. And so she was arrested and went to prison and died in prison. I have the cover of San Francisco Chronicle blown up in 1913 showing her being arrested. And I do have her magic poster, but she looks good and terrible too. She's embalmed with ginseng and mercury. It tastes a little better, yeah. I don't know if we're going to be able to see her very well. Let's see.
Carl, why would they use ginseng?
Just because it, it gives you long life. No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea. Can you see her at all?
Nope, you can't see her. Got to go a little higher.
Okay, let's see.
There she is. You can see her a little bit there.
She looks terrible. Yeah, the amazing thing is in her hand, she's still.
Yeah, you're good. Right there is perfect. That's perfect. Oh boy. Oh, he's gone again. I think this is going to be a tough tour tonight with the cell phone. We had technical issues. We were good for the beginning, and then once he came back, we ran into some problems, but here he is again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good now. Yeah.
Okay, well, I have the Lotus Jewel here because it turned out to be a fake, and the museum was so embarrassed they had something fake on display they didn't prosecute. So they wanted her to, they wanted to show it. Can you see it at all? Tell me when you could see it.
Oh, yeah, we seen it. When you to the right. Oh, there it is.
I can't really hear you, yeah. Can you see it at all?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you can't write this stuff, man. It's so crazy, you know. Wow. Unbelievable. Okay, well, I'm going to show you my dead clown next. And Achille, his name was Achille Chatouillet, and which translates to the French tickler. Okay. He died in 1912 of chronic nephritis. That's kidney damage from drinking too much. He was a drunken mess. And he's actually more famous now dead than he was alive. Yeah, shoot, I left my flashlight inside. I'm so sorry. Let me see if you can see him.
Yeah, I'm sorry, everybody. The headset went bonkers on him. Everything went bonkers.
Killing me. Killing me. Can you hear me? Can you see him at all? Let's see.
Yeah, you can see him.
You can see him? Mm-hmm. Okay, so he's embalmed with mercury and arsenic. And his last request was that he would always be on display. And so they hermetically sealed him in his casket, with a glass top. And he's wearing his Shriner's Parade outfit from 1906 in Detroit. He's got a centerfold in the Ripley's 2018 hardback book. Yeah, and there's just tons of articles of them online. You can even go to YouTube and type in "Last Laugh of Achille," and you'll see a filmmaker, student filmmaker made a film a while ago about, the whole process of getting him here and everything. And actually 25 years ago, when the family comes back, it's a freak show family. They do freak shows here. I've been doing freak shows here for 27 years. They call me the Barnum of Burbank Boulevard. Yeah. And they came one time 27 years ago, and they're like, yeah, we have Uncle So-and-so on our ranch. No one ever sees him. I'm like, bring him down. And they did. And now he's more famous than he was when he was dead. And like I say, his last request was that he would always be on display. So they put him in clown makeup and sealed him in the casket. Now, recently, January 1st, New Year's Day, they hired a team of people to come out and unseal the casket so they could put his original fez on. The fez that he was wearing was not the original one. And this one's really amazing. I don't know if you could see it. It says clown on it. Can you see it at all?
Yep.
Yeah. So that looks, they put the other one over here. So, yeah, it's kind of weird. The lighting is not, coming on too much yet, so it's hard to see. But, yeah, amazing. I mean, he's the most famous. Been here for almost 27 years. Achille Chatouillet. So I will tell you, every year that they come by We haven't done it because of the scamdemic. You know, they're on the road. They're a circus family. So we always do a memorial service for him every year when they come through. So you can see a video of the very first memorial service we ever did, almost 27 years ago, on our Facebook page. And his casket was on the stage I showed you earlier. And there's flowers and people performing in his honor. It's very somber. And a magician gets up and he did some juggling because he loved juggling. And he did it terribly, but the thought that counts. Then he pulls out a case and sets it on the stage and unzips it. And out jumps a rabbit. And the rabbit jumps up to the microphone and leans in and says the closing benediction like a black preacher. Amen. Freaked everyone out. I mean, it was so funny. I mean, you could see people going, ah! They couldn't even believe it. And what that really was a trick microphone that leaked yogurt, a trained rabbit, and I'm backstage going, hallelujah. Yeah, it was so much fun. So we do that every time they come back. Yeah. So now I'm going to show you something that's cursed. Oh, yes. This is the arm of Claude De Lauren. This is a human arm in a shrine from 1918. You can go on YouTube and type in Arm of Claude, and you'll see it on Ripley's, believe it or not, with Dean Cain. Claude De Lauren was a French nobleman, turn of the century, in Paris. And his wife was a singer, and she wouldn't sing during World War I. But when the war ended in 1918, I will now sing. And she got on the Paris soccer stage and slipped and broke her neck. And he freaked out and shoved his arm right through a window and had to amputate his arm. But instead of throwing the trash, they enshrined his own arm. So this is the shrine of the arm of Claude De Lauren. Now, supposedly it's cursed if you photograph it. And yeah, I've had some stories from people that, you know, supposedly got in accidents but you have to know about it. I had this one girl, she said, I know about it. She took a picture. She got in an accident on the way home. I don't know. I don't even want to say that's real, but the real thing with this is you can leave something and get a wish in 24 hours. We've been doing it for 27 years. I have a trunk load of stuff that we're putting glass over so you could see 27 years worth of offerings. These are some of the stuff that people just recently left. But I mean, you should see what's in the trunk. Oy, 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 oy. Not all of it's legal. But so there's a whole thing where you have to make a wish and blah, blah, blah. But it's got a lot of history. But if you want to see it, like I say, on YouTube, type in Arm of Claude, and you'll see it on Ripley's. It's pretty cool. So we didn't tell them that it was cursed to photograph it. And so, oops, they're off the air. Oopsie. But whatever. Okay, so now we're going to go into the auditorium. Okay, so we're going to go, here we are. And it looks really weird because it's not dark yet, but this is just all kinds of stuff here. Like, this is a shrunken head from Ecuador. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And he is a chieftain, and he's in a magnetized case. You know what that is, right?
No.
It's a case that's magnetized. But why do they magnetize the case? To mute any residual juju? I say, you know, juju owed me $10. You better give me that money.
Yep.
Now, right below it is a hand of glory. Have you ever heard of that? Child, you need to get back to Sunday school. Come on, hand of glory. No, this is in Scotland. If you're a thief, they hang you and let your body swing all night long in the moors. And they come in the morning and your right hand's usually been cut off. The peasants, they treat it with cinnamon, salt, and moonlight and put candlesticks between your fingers. And it becomes what's known as a thieves' light. And this is one that came from 1700s from Scotland. Can you see it at all?
Yep.
Could you see it? Oh, yeah. It's really gross. It tastes like teriyaki. Just the fingernails. Come on.
It looks like teriyaki.
Just the fingernails, yeah. No, there's really creepy history behind that stuff. This is my pigwa, half pig and half chihuahua. Charming little face. Did you see it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got that in Mexico, man. I didn't know how I was going to get through customs. I just put it in a bag and wrote a pig statue on it. I'm like, I get there and he goes, "Vámonos, go." He didn't even look. I'm like, phew. I got it home. My girlfriend had nightmares for a week. The teeth, the teeth. I go, "Honey, that's corn. That's his favorite meal." Thanks a lot, Carl. So this is my cryptozoological specimen no one can identify. I had scientists from the Natural History Museum come down and try to get it for me. And I asked them, like, "What is it?" And they go, "I don't know." I said, "Well, it's not for sale then." It looks like a rat. It looks like a bird. There's no sewing on it. And I used to be a mortician. I could spot a fake a mile away. So, yeah, I love that they didn't even know. Oh, and I have my Fiji Mermaid, and she's got Down syndrome. It's really sad, so don't laugh. Can you see her? Can you see her little fat face?
You can see her, yeah, a little bit, yeah, the reflection.
Yeah, and she's got a tail. This is a real Fiji mermaid caught off the coast of Fiji Islands. It stunk for like 6 months when I first got it and hung it in there. I was like, "Whoa, baby, you need a Tic Tac." But it's based on the fake one that P.T. Barnum did in 1876, where he sewed a monkey body to a fish body. It's like 4 feet long. It's very famous. But that's based on the real thing, which I have, yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what I got in trouble for.
How do you acquire these things? Do people contact you, or do you go looking for them?
Well, I used to have an antique store in the Haight-Ashbury, which I'm just going to get to right now. So I've been dealing with a lot of strange people for a long time, and they kind of float to me now. But I always keep an eye out, whenever I go hunting and stuff. But I had an antique store in the Haight-Ashbury, and I met a lot of really creepy dealers. And some of them even dealt antiques too, yeah. Nobody gets that. It's okay. This one woman, she had the thickest accent in the world, and I love accents. And I bought stuff from her for 10 years. She knew my taste. And I saw her 25 years later down here. I'm like, "Oh," and she was my friend. She comes and gives me a hug. She's like 90 years old, I go, "Oh, you got to come by for a tour." She's like, "Oh, I will." She came by. She's very sweet. "I'm so happy to see you, Carl." I said, "Thank you." She goes, "This is my number. You call me tonight." Yeah, I did. What can I do for you? "My friend, I have something I want to give to you." I said, "What is it?" "You have to wait till I die." I'm like, "Really?" She died 2 weeks later. I got a call from one of her relatives. "Is your name Carl?" "Yeah, there's a painting over here with your name on it." I said, "Fine." Picked it up, brought it back here, hung it in the main room. The first night, I had a couple run out of here screaming. I ran after them. "What are you doing?" They go, "I couldn't even talk." I go, No. You just ran out of my place. I got to know why." She goes, "You're messing with us." I said, "What?" She said, "We saw the eyes move." And I said, I almost laughed in her face. "Are you kidding?" And she wouldn't talk to me anymore. She just left. She was so pissed. So I come back in. "Oh, what happened to her?" "Oh, they saw the eyes move." Ha ha. 5 people say we saw it. Now, I've never seen it. And you know what I'd do if I saw it?
Throw it in the trash.
Bam, man. That's right, baby. Papa don't take no mess. Believe me, I've thrown stuff away here, yeah. Someone took a picture of it and put it on Google, haunted painting. Hundreds of people came down for the tour. I couldn't believe it. And none of them would stand more than a few seconds in front of it. And I know when something's haunted. And I didn't believe this was at all. But 2 years ago, it got stolen on Halloween night. Like, how stupid, It's like, come on. Half of me was like, "Ah." The other half of me was like, "Don't let the gate hit you on the way out, baby." Yeah. That thing came back in 3 days, leaned against my gate with a note that said, "F this." And this is it right here. Can you see it?
Oh, yeah. Yep. That's a little freaky looking.
Say it again.
It's a little freaky looking.
Yeah. I mean, it's outsider art. They always ask, "Is that her?" No, it's not her. It came from thrift stores. It's thrift store art. I would pay money to find out what happened to the last person that took it, though. That was hilarious. Very bizarre.
Well, it's too bad you didn't get to hear the whole story about it,
I know. Like I say, I mean, they stole it, so they were scared, apparently. So, yeah. This is the skull of the smallest Freemason. Sounds like a child's book, I know. This came from a Masonic lodge that burned down in Georgia in 1950s or something. My friend pulled it out of the rubble and gave it to me years later. If you know anything about the Masons, there's the Eye of Horus. There's all kinds of hand signals down here. But I don't know if you can see it in there, but there's a little tiny skull in there with red eyes. It's a fetal skull. Yeah, you really can't see it, can you?
You can see the eyes glow. That's about it.
It's just, there are two just jewels in there, yeah. But this is the deal. I don't let anything haunted stay here. We have had 2 paranormal investigations, and they were bummed out because they couldn't find anything. Yeah, I keep the place clean, baby. Yeah, and but the weird thing about this is when I turn off all the lights, and it's a shame that it's not dark yet because there's so many lights everywhere around it, just bring the ambience. But if I can throw the switch from back here or up front. If I'm right here and I throw the switch and all goes black and I'm standing right here, I hear wind and I can't explain it. I don't know if it's the traffic outside or I'm losing my mind again. Yes. So you've heard of you've heard of a monkey's paw, curse of the monkey's paw, right?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where have you heard of it from?
The curse of the monkey paw, probably from probably one of the shoot. Where did I hear the monkey paw? I've heard it. Believe me, I've heard the monkey.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Edgar Allan Poe wrote the short story, and there was a movie made in the 1930s, The Curse of the Monkey's Paw.
I think that's what I seen.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's many different. There's Twilight Zone, Alfred Hitchcock. For the more culturally challenged, The Simpsons episode. Yeah. But I have a monkey paw right here. Can you see it?
Yep.
Yeah, and the deal with the monkey's paw is if you get 3 wishes and the 3rd wish always kills you and you can't stop making, can't you just make 1 wish and jump out of the way? No, you can't. Like, for example, when you make your 1st wish, one of the fingers closes. And then you make your 2nd wish and the 2nd finger closes. And that's basically what happens. The last lady, she wished for money. Someone died in her family. She got a bunch of jewelry. And there's actually a piece of jewelry that came with the paw, like the one piece she couldn't sell. And then she wished for a husband, and she got a husband. But he turned into a handicapped nightmare. Everything you wish for turns into a nightmare. And we know she wished her 3rd wish because she did it around her 2 sisters, and they got on a plane, baby. Bam! On the side of a mountain. Really sad. Very tragic. Yeah. But she survived. And she made it back to the airport. Bam! She was hit by a cab. Yeah. So I'm wishing on nothing, baby. No. This is a merman, half fish and half man. It's kind of hard to see with the reflection. Do you see the tail?
Yep.
Yeah. This is like typical stuff from Florida from the 30s and 40s, you know. Oh, yeah, I have this too. It's a fish boy. The remains of fish boy. Oh, it's going to be hard to see. Can you see it? There's a little picture of it.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
I've seen the picture pretty good.
That stank pretty good when I first got it. Yeah. This is another Fiji Mermaid right here. And just whatever you do, do not look in this jar. Do not look there. Do not look.
All right, thanks.
You didn't look, right? You didn't look, did you? Oh, no. Oh, man. No, I told you not to. Okay, so this is my fake 2-headed baby. We call him Lumpy and Mumpy. And it came from Fort Lauderdale. And I don't know if you can see it, but it looks like... it was dipped in Pepto-Bismol.
It looks like the Garbage Pail Kids.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It looks like Garbage Pail Kid dipped in Pepto-Bismol. Absolutely. But this is 1950s, man. You know, I wanted to sing in harmony so bad. So, but this is a real 2-headed baby we have here that's pickled. There's no color left in it at all. It's floating in formaldehyde and
Carl, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Sorry, you couldn't see her.
Oh, we could see it, but we couldn't hear you.
Okay, Octopus Girl. Yeah, that's once again, all this. It's a gaff. You know what a gaff is? What's a gaff? It's a carny term for fake, but 50 years of kids staring in horror, that's called patina, baby. I love that. Well, this is the head of Bigfoot. And hopefully you'll be able to see this without the reflection. You see that?
Yeah, you can see it a little bit.
Yeah, and that's a gaff too, which is what?
Fake.
Right. But this is where I whip out my phone and I show Jerry Crew, my great uncle. And I tell him all about that he named Bigfoot and drew the map for Patterson Gimlin and blah, 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 and all that stuff. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Why don't you fill everybody in what's going on with that? Because last time you were on, you were talking about, you're writing a screenplay and all that.
Yeah, I finished the screenplay. I'm actually converting it to a book right now. I have a director who's interested in it. I'm going to have to pare it down a little bit, the actual screenplay, so it flows, because there's so much information in there from 2 years. And I have to really, really regulate exactly what is the most important information, because I just want to tell the story of Jerry Crew. People go, well, he didn't name it. Oh, yes, he did. He was telling people, Bigfoot was here last night, before Humboldt times ever got through, the loggers that would go up there. And just the insane things I found out about Ray Wallace and all these people. Have you ever heard of the letters he wrote, Ray Wallace? Oh my goodness. It's hilarious. We killed all the UFOs and the Japanese took them all on a ship to Hong Kong and the UFOs and all. I mean, like, whoa, wow, just like crazy stuff. I include all the letters in my screenplay. And I'm going to have to pare some of that down. Yeah. I just want to make very clear, he was so horribly horrified and jealous of Jerry that he had those Bigfoot prints made by a friend of his and stomped around, and they just look like a surfer's foot, totally different from the organic ones that Jerry, and it's hilarious. But I mean, everyone bought it, like Judd Reinhold from Beverly Hills Cop. He bought the story of Ray Wallace. You're thinking, hey, this is the guy that faked Bigfoot. Bigfoot's dead, blah, blah, blah. Dude, you're so off. I have a friend who's a director who is in some kind of a festival in Florida this weekend. And there was Judd Reinhold. I said, tell him I want to talk to him. Oh, man, it's so crazy. So have you ever heard of the Spear of Destiny? You have. What is that?
That's the spear that they stabbed Christ with on the cross.
Pierced the side of Christ, yeah. I have a replica, and it's one of the 17 replicas that Himmler made while he had the real one for Hitler. He made 17 replicas from 2,000-year-old material, so no one would figure out which one was the real one. Why did he do that? Because the legend of the spear.
Right. Do you think Hitler ever had that?
Yes, he did. He had it for a few months. But when it fell out of his hands, everything went in the toilet. And they had long enough to make 17 replicas of it. This is I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it at all?
Go to the right a little bit. There you go, right there. Stop.
Yeah, there's a book called Spear of Destiny by Trevor Ravenscroft. And he was an occultist, so you have to kind of read it through that filter. But he talked about how deeply the Nazis were involved with the occult. They had the Thule Society. They had Dietrich Eckart, the head of the Thule Society, take Hitler through like these black magic rituals to open his third eye, all this crazy stuff. But there was a lot of technology that came out of from just appeared on the scene supposedly from fallen angels. And it was rocket technology. And they had the first spaceship. It was called the Nazi Bell. It hung over concentration camps during the war. You could see pictures of it online. And there was a weird circular temple that it took out of. So they got this advanced information. Also, our modern day NASA is based on this information. Because there was something called Operation Paperclip, where after the war, we snuck all their scientists out and they formed our modern day NASA. So a lot of our NASA technology is from that, the Nazis. But the cool thing about the spear is that the College of Surgeons in Edinburgh in 2018, they did a whole study on it. And they wanted to find out, did Jesus actually die on the cross? Okay, so when he was pierced, what came out?
Blood,
And
water.
very good, child. You get an A, baby. I'll give you a Sunday school little star on your report card. Blood and water. That's arterial. That means he is dead, dead, dead. Even though we've seen by 500 people 3 days later. Can I get an amen? Aw, you better ask somebody, child. Let me something that's going to frost your berries later is the number of prophecies that Jesus fulfilled from 300 years before. I mean, one is impossible. Child could be born in Bethlehem. Bing! I mean, one's impossible. Okay? 349. The Jews are like, okay, it's a Sabbath. Let's just break their legs and get them out of here. They broke the legs of either thief on either side of the cross because that's what you do when they, because they can't push themselves up to get a breath anymore. So then they die. And they went to Jesus. Longinus, the Roman centurion, pierced his side and blood and water came out. Oh, he's already dead. We don't have to break his legs. Ding! 349. Not a bone shall be broken. That's going to mess you up later, baby. Yeah. I just love that kind of history. What's really amazing is you go on YouTube and type in this guy named Ron Wyatt. And Ron Wyatt passed away a few years ago. My brother got to actually meet him before he passed. He was an archaeologist from America, but he was really well known in Israel because he found Noah's Ark. There's a whole video on that on YouTube, Noah's Ark. And they found it on Mount Ararat. Okay. And he found Sodom and Gomorrah, the calcified cities with balls of sulfur and everything. So he was really well known in Israel as a very esteemed archaeologist. He also dove down into the Red Sea where it split apart for the Israelis to escape the Egyptians, right? They dove down and found the track with all the skeletal remains of the chariots and the horses and the people and the Egyptians that chased them. They found it all. So he's like, they just, he could do no wrong in Israel. He was going by this garbage dump in Israel and his hand went out. He goes, we have to dig here. And they're like, yeah, okay, whatever. So they started digging on the side of this mountain and they broke through and they started getting these little tunnels, and it was like an Indiana Jones thing. He had all these kids helping him and something would happen. And they all run away and he had to get new kids. And they kept going for like months and they kept breaking into new inner little tunnels and you could barely slip through them, and they came to this last part and his son got sick and he had to put him on a plane back to America. And he was there with one kid when they broke open the final hole to a tunnel and the kid got scared and ran away. So he was alone when he slipped through the passage and found himself in a giant cavern with all the furniture from Solomon's temple. I'm talking the candelabra and the what's it called? The altar of the way bread, the altar of the incense, and over in there in the corner was the Ark of the Covenant. And he's like, and he was like, how am I going to get this out of here to these? They're going to freak out. The Israelis are going to freak out. And years later, he was interviewed by some people when he was dying saying, all right, okay, you're going to go see God now. You got to come clean. You never found the Ark of the Covenant, did you? And he said, yes, I did. And I'll tell you something I never told anybody before because I'm going. When I walked up to the Ark, two men appeared right before me. They appeared right before me. And they said, you can't touch this. It's like MC Hammer, yeah. Can't touch this. And they said, this is reserved for a later time. And he's like, yeah. And they said, look up. And he saw in the top of the ceiling, there was a big rent in the top of the ceiling, a big hole and a crack. And later he traced that crack straight up the mountain to the actual place where the cross of Jesus Christ was. There's still a hole there. It's called Mount Golgotha. And right below that crack, that hole was another crack. So when he was pierced with the sword, the blood and the water literally ran through the entire mountain and landed on the mercy seat of the Ark of the Covenant. I mean, you can't write this stuff. This is where they used to throw the blood of the sacrificed animals in the old days, you know? I mean, you can't write this. And so the angel said, take a sample of the blood. So he did. And he took it and he got it analyzed. And they go, what is this? He goes, just analyze it. They came back. They go, well there's no male chromosome in this. What? There's only female. It's like, baby, it's like a virgin birth. Hello. But the weirdest part was they said, this blood is still alive, man. Who is this? And he just said, baby, it's your Messiah, child. You better ask somebody. Really, really amazing stuff. You can go on YouTube and see those videos. It's amazing. That guy was really, really cool. Yeah, Ron Wyatt. So anyway, so now we're going to go on to the back area. And we have an outdoor stage too. Now it's finally getting a little darker. And this is our whole back little area here. And this is our outdoor stage. Yeah, fire-breathing clowns, bands, DJs, all kinds of crazy stuff on here. And, yep, it's crazy. And, of course, it's just, the ambience is just starting to peek its little face out. So we're going to wander through, and we're going to go up this ramp, and there is a very dangerous animal up here. You have to be very, very careful. Sometimes it gets out. And we're going to climb this. I just dropped a set on my toes today and practically broke my toes, so I'm limping around a little bit. Okay, so here we go. All right, and we got to press the button on the elevator. Oh, that's right, it's not an elevator. Okay. Okay, here's the... Oh, yeah. Oh, dear. Oh, boy. Oh! Yeah, it scares girls when they come back from the bathroom. So the last thing I'm going to show you is the bones of Elephant Man. Like I said, I have a friend, Captain Leather. He actually tried to get the real bones from Michael Jackson, and they said no. But my friend was a producer for the David Bowie Broadway play, The Elephant Man. And they did an anamorphic digital scan of the bones in London, and they reproduced it, and it's amazing. And he asked if I won. I said, oh, yeah. So we're gonna try to get up here. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Well, I'm going to try over here. Okay. It's a steep stage. Oh, yes. All right. Here we go. Can you see him?
Yep.
Yeah, this is a digital. I mean, there's real bone they use to digitally assemble it. And it changes. It gets a little brighter, too, the colors there. But it's the whole skeleton. And amazing. This was him, actually, right here. If you can see that. Can you see that? It's so dark.
You can see it.
Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So Joseph Merrick, yeah, amazing story. This actually came with a whole case of like the original books written by the authors in a case from the late 1800s. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe it was such a bonanza. And this is my father. Just kidding. Yeah. So basically, that's the tour. There are some secret things that I can't show yet, but
So,
do you have any questions?
So, Carl, why?
What do you mean?
Why this? Why did you choose to construct this? Well,
Well, I mean, the original concept for the Institute was taking people out of their safety zone, put them in a place that challenges their artistic and mental perceptions, and show them stuff they've never seen before. And it's a really interesting way to break people out of a mold of mediocrity. You know, I detest mediocrity. It's boring. You know, it's just like, man, I don't want anything to do with it. You know, and it's really there's so many amazing stories that have come out of here. I mean, I have no idea. I wrote a 500-page book on this place. And it's really only covers like 10 years of it. I got a lot more material, but I'm literally in the process of probably moving the whole club to Vegas. Yeah, so there's 45 million tourists a year.
All right, when's that going to happen? What do you?
I don't know. In the next few months, I have no idea. I have somebody coming by tonight who's going to talk to me about it too. But you know, I'm getting more back into filmmaking now. I mean, we've shot like so many films during the scamdemic. I mean, that was one thing. We can't do live shows anymore. So we have museum tours. I got a big tour tomorrow night, and we have a shoot on Thursday. But just plenty, like really, and it just kind of started my acting career again too, which is kind of cool, which is what I love anyway. But this whole process where you're meeting so many actors, so many directors, so many art people, it was just kind of like it was really, really successful at first. And then it faded a little bit, and then it came back, and then the scamdemic hit. Yeah,
I'm ready.
Yeah, it's been a very strange journey.
Yeah, I'm ready to do my acting in the Jerry Crew film. I'm ready.
Oh yeah, babe, I got your costume all sewed up. Yeah, I can't wait to shoot that. That's going to be amazing. I can't wait to actually go to Willow Creek. I was interviewed on a Bigfoot podcast called Bigfoot. Did you see that at all? Well, the guy went up to Willow Creek, and they actually shot in the same space as the Patterson Gimlin guys did. And that's when I got to tell them that Jerry Crew drew the map for them 8 years before on how to find that. And I also showed him a note from Bob Titmus. I love saying his name, Titmus. And he finally said, you know what, your prints are actually real. You know, there was a big doubt about it for a while, but he came to it. But he is like, I found so much dirt on all these people from interviewing Peter Burns. Oh my goodness. Oh, the dirt I found out. Oh, it's so great. I had to put it all in there. You know, like Bob Titmus was like, well, I'm doing this private things for Tom Slick, so you can't fire me. You can fire everyone else. We can't fire me. And, you know, so they couldn't. Peter Burns literally fired 5 people that were taking money from Tom Slick to hunt Bigfoot, you know. And 2 of them were in jail. One of them lived in San Francisco, you know. There was the infamous John Green, who wouldn't even answer the phone. And he cut them all off and said, no, I can't do this anymore. And but he hired Jerry and my Uncle Jim. And anyway, the dirt, like there was one time that Tom Slick was coming to town to meet with Bob Titmus for his special thing that he was doing. So Peter Burns and his brother and my great uncle Jerry, they all got this campsite ready, and they were cooking breakfast, and they're waiting for them to come to town. And a car drives up, and out comes Tom Slick, and and they joined him, and they're eating breakfast, waiting for Bob Titmus to show up. And this car just comes up real quickly, or, you know, this old kind of beat up car. And he comes out, and he walks right in. He doesn't look at anybody but Tom Slick. Okay, let's go. I mean, he didn't say hi or to anybody. And they turned around, and they went, and they disappeared for 2 hours. And they're sitting there going, what happened? I have no idea. And all of a sudden, his car comes back, and Tom gets out, and then it just drives away, really, in a puff of smoke, you know. And they go, what happened? What happened? And he just, hold on, I got to have a drink. So he took a shot, and then they go, what happened? Oh, you have another drink. So he had 2 shots. And he goes, well, this was his big thing he was working on for years, the Bigfoot Toilet. He found Bigfoot's toilet, you know, and it's like, okay. So they drove out to this area, and they had to crawl through these bushes for like 500 feet on their knees. And it was hot and sweaty and no air. It was a nightmare. they break into this little central opening, right? And there's a tree in the center of this opening. They're just like, shh, be quiet. And they see beneath the tree is a big pile of dung. And I see, I told you. And Tom looks like, let's start taking pictures. Let's take pictures. And they're sitting there for a minute, and they're like, they start hearing something. Oh, something really big breaks into the opening, and they're like, you know, they're sweating, got all scared, and it was an Indian on a horse, and he marched up to the tree, got off, tied his horse to the tree, and the horse, and all of a sudden, Tom Slick just came out of the bush and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, I've been coming here for years to get my herbs. This is where I get my herbs." And all of a sudden, the horse took a big dump on top of the pile. So that kind of blew that whole deal. And they just left after talking to him a little bit. They just left, and it's like Titmus didn't say a word all the way back. And they actually moved up to Washington afterwards, and wasn't really seen much. So, but I mean, you know, you can't write this stuff, man. It's like crazy. So that was courtesy of Peter Burns.
So what's the craziest thing that you found digging through all your great uncle's stuff? What's the craziest that you could talk about?
Well, there's so many. Well, actually, I found some footage of him giving a lecture, and it's very rare. It's so rare, I can't even believe it. And he's talking about the Bigfoot, and I'm going to be including that in the after. I'm going to do a little documentary after the movie. It's right from the horse's mouth, man. He tells it all. I think that was the most interesting thing I found. I mean, I remember seeing him as a kid. You know, he'd come over and he would do little magic tricks. He taught Sunday school for the Hopi Indians. So he didn't drink. I mean, he was very, very respected by everybody. And he would come up with these silver balls, you know, foil, and do all this crazy stuff. He taught me to do the French drop, which is a way to, you know, make a quarter disappear. And it was so cool, man. And my father, you know, he made me practice and stuff. But as far as the weirdest thing, I don't know. It was all weird, you know. I mean, he didn't know what to make of it. His son thought it was Nephilim, you know, because his oldest son, Hiram. And he said, well, you know, I saw a Bigfoot, and then it appeared 500 feet down, and it has to be interdimensional. I'm like, well, you don't understand. They travel in families. So where you see one pop up here, if you see one pop up here 2 seconds later, it's probably a member of the family, not the same one. So, you know, and like Supernatural doesn't leave big piles of poo in the forest, you know. They actually found some fecal matter, and they sent it to Berkeley, and it was analyzed, and they said that there is parasites in here from humans and apes, and small bones, so they know it was carnivorous, but they couldn't identify what it was. And I don't believe Bigfoot is a missing link, or the thing about the missing link. I mean, the thing is that implies that they have the whole chain. They're just missing one little link to make evolution true. Well, guess what? They don't have the whole chain. The missing link is a misnomer. Right. It's like, yeah, if we just get that one thing, it's all true. No. It's not true at all. Because macroevolution, there's zero evidence. There's like 10 iconic, the Lucy and Nebraska man. Well, they've all been proven fake. I mean, Lucy was a tooth bone of a pig. I mean, these artists for years have been paid to create these Neanderthal men in museums out of, 3D. And it's just all this narrative that, oh, well, we don't have any evolution. We don't have any actual fossils showing the transfer of species. But we'll just put in 20 billion years. And that it must have happened sometime then. So that's all they have. It's kind of a religion, because you have to have faith to accept, because there's zero evidence. Whereas macroevolution or microevolution, there's billions of evidence. I mean, that's the adaptation of species. That's why I believe Bigfoot is human, that adapted and to living the syncopation of life in the forest. I mean, in the 1700s, there were earthquakes so big, the Mississippi flowed backwards. Hello? No radio, no phone, no nothing back then. I mean, there are parts of Oregon that the whole mountains came down and rerouted rivers. I mean, the Indians were freaked out and like went in crazy and went into the forest and probably lost a lot of their females. So there's a lot of interbreeding. So I believe that they're really human and that have adapted to living in the forest, survival mode. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, who knows? I mean, I believe that more than I believe it's alien or supernatural. Yeah. What do you think?
I think they're flesh and blood, but I think they got a little extra kick. I think there's something about them, especially what we're getting with the radio frequency with these guys being around. So,
but see, you have to understand, there are interdimensional beings they can appear as anything they want to. I mean, some call them demons. They can take on any form. So I'm sure they'll take on the form of a Bigfoot. I'm sure they'll take on the form of a Mothman. I mean, Mothmans are really dark. I mean, that's demonic as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I suppose with the Indian burial grounds and all this stuff, people go looking for this stuff. I mean, most people that go on ghost hunts, they bring things with them. The two paranormal investigations we had here, one of them was this woman from England, Erie, California, and she came in here and she could not believe there was nothing around my 3 dead bodies. I don't understand. But when she went backstage, she had a cameraman and another a girl with her, and they were going down this long hallway backstage. There's 6 eyes staring at you from that corner right there. And they turned around. There's 6 eyes. And they got closer and closer. And it was a mirror ball. Hello. But when they came back out on the stage, there were orbs. Okay, these are things that follow them from other investigations.
I've heard a lot lately about that stuff.
Yeah, and that's really your basic elemental demon, basically. Yeah, I mean, you can call them whatever you want, interdimensional beings, demons, but they work for the father of lies, baby. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of nonsense that comes with it. Right. So actually, in the Bible, God forbade the occult. Why did he do that? Because you're opening your mind to complete deception. And so that's why if you say, don't mess with that, when I give tours, I get a lot of people that come up to me afterwards, go, can I talk to you? I go, yeah, I'm seeing shadow people. And I said, okay, well, do you have any involvement with the occult? What do you mean? I go, do you do tarot cards? No. Do you follow astrology? No. Is there anyone in your family that's into witchcraft? Oh, well, my mother's a witch. Yeah. Okay. There you go. I mean, yeah, I do a podcast, by the way. It's called Freedom First Net. It's on Freedom First Network, and it's called Fourth Watch Files. And I just did one on Area 51 with there's the real story of Area 51 with L. Ron Hubbard and Jack Parsons. You know about Jack Parsons? No, he was a rocket scientist in the 40s for Rocketdyne. He invented all this. He had all this crazy, they were inventing rocket fuel, but he was also the head of the satanic church for Aleister Crowley in America.
Jeez.
Yeah. And him and his guy who was staying at his Pasadena mansion was who? L. Ron Hubbard. And they did a 6-day sex magic ritual over Area 51 to bring forth a goddess. That would usher in the Antichrist. That's how hardcore this was. So they literally opened a portal. That's not UFO stuff there. That's all completely demonic. But I do a whole podcast on that, and we cover Bigfoot. We cover all kinds of crazy stuff. So.
Oh yeah, definitely send me the link, and I'll put it in the description tomorrow.
Freedom First. It's called Fourth Watch Files. I'll send you the link. Yeah.
Okay, and then
we did one on Bigfoot and UFOs. We did a whole one on giants. How giants are missing from America history, giants, Nephilim. Right. And all over the world, they have them in museums and everything. But out here, it's quiet. Smithsonian supposedly has all these giants in their basement they're keeping under wraps. So we did 2 episodes on that and got a lot of people looking at that. But I just love all this stuff,
Yeah, no, you definitely do. You're into that history. And that's a good thing. People learn a lot. Like I answered those questions tonight. I learned it from the last interview.
Oh, yeah. Amen, baby.
I listen.
Too bad you don't have anyone calling in with questions.
That's all
Well, I'm
right.
sorry for talking so much. I get on a roll.
No, it's all good.
Let me see that shirt.
Oh, it's my Discover Sasquatch shirt.
Oh, very cool.
And the
Do you
back.
sell those?
Yeah.
Very cool.
It says "Get in the Woods" on the back.
Amen, baby.
Yep. Yeah, I
You
saw.
know, my friend Ken Gearhard, you never heard of him?
Yeah, I know Ken.
Yeah. He came down. I gave him a tour one time with Jax. They were both on Missing in Alaska. And I was giving him the tour. We ended up on, and I was talking about Jerry Crew, and they were freaked out. They were like, "What?" I couldn't believe it.
It's great.
Yeah, so he's so cool, man. I follow him on everything he does. Yeah.
Yeah, he's into it for sure.
Yeah, he's amazing. But he investigates Mothman. Yeah, that's a scary thing, man. That's a scary thing. So
And that's what I think. I think the Dog Man's an evil demon. That's what I think he is.
absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. You know, anything that's, they try to say all this Indian burial ground stuff. I mean, it sounds like, a horror movie. But I mean, demons love to hang out in cemeteries. I mean, they wander until they can find something else they can get into. Demons are usually the soul of a Nephilim who died. And the Nephilim body, you know what a Nephilim is, right? Half demon, half human. And eventually the Nephilim dies, but the demon goes out and they miss being inside of something. So they possess other things. That's part of it. We do a whole thing on that too. We're actually recording a podcast this weekend about idols. Yeah, getting rid of the idols in your life that are they're portals for demons. You'd be surprised what you have in your place. Because they have like these shiny stones and crystals and rocks, and they love to inhabit those things because people take them and put them in their house. It's like they can see everything you're doing, especially with crystal balls and stuff like that. You don't want any of that crap around you.
Yeah, no,
I see one right in your back. I see one right there, brother.
What?
You got to get rid of that.
What?
I'm
That's
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That's a Pokemon ball, man.
Oh, that's terrible.
Oh.
We did a Pokemon festival here one time. It was a giant Pokemon contest. They only did it at 2 other giant theaters, and they were walking around. They found Pokemons in the bathrooms and stuff, and they took pictures and stuff. It's crazy.
Pretty cool. But
Yeah, it was kind of funny. Cool, man. It's so good to talk to you, brother.
Yeah, it was good. Good. Thank you very much for giving us the tour.
Oh, my pleasure. I wish it was a little darker, but I hope you were able to see some of this stuff.
No, I saw it. I'm sure everybody else seen it. I'm gonna throw you backstage, and then we'll talk again. So
Yeah, be gentle.
Yeah, I will be.
All right, take care, brother.
Thank you.
All right, my pleasure.
All right, I gotta find the first. All right, well, thank everybody for stopping in tonight. It was a great show. I'm glad Carl made it back and gave us the tour like he said he was last time he was on. Carl is full of a lot of information. He is a history buff. So I think it'd be well worth you guys checking out his podcast, because I'm sure it's very interesting, very filled with fun facts and facts that you've never even heard about. And you guys should all go over and check it out. The next shows that we got coming, Mr. Cliff Brackman has been signed up on the 8th. It'll be a 2-show day. He'll be on, I believe, at 5 o'clock. And then Mr. Ryan Reading from Western New York Bigfoot will be our second guest at 8 o'clock that day. I'm very excited to have both of them on board. And again, we're all set for New Mexico with Robert Kreider and his crew. We got 6 men that are going to be going in on this expedition. I'm very excited. We're going to the land of the giants. And we're going to see what's up. So again, thank you for all stopping by my little podcast here. I do it in the basement of my house, so please be kind with the comments about the way it sounds. We're working on the sound. So, and as Larry always says, get in the woods, people.